What is up, everybody? All right, welcome to our second Empower session of the day. I know we're all disappointed that I am not Kyle Lacey, but we are going to be doing a recorded session with Kyle, and we're going to send it out to everyone who joined the session here today. And I've moved this talk back an hour to make sure that there was something going on the entire time. So the purpose of this session is really to talk about some more tactical things. We heard this morning from the team at Gong, some of the things that they're doing to encourage their team. We're going to walk through a handful of different step-by-step tactical things that you can be doing on your team to help get everyone more engaged and active. And I see Becca is here, and huge shout out to Becca. Becca leads our marketing team at Skaled. And she is where I drew a ton of inspiration for some of the things that we're going to cover today, because Becca does an awesome job of providing people with great content to share on our team. Yes, cheers for Becca. So I want to start off with a couple of quick polls here, just to get a sense for who's in the room right now and how you've interacted, we'll say, with your company asking to share content. So I'm going to try out this fun poll feature here. All right, I don't know if you all can see this when I do it, but okay, I think it's going to come up on your screen. We'll all learn together. Okay, ready? Boom. Just kidding. Oh, okay. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. So the first question, maybe the question's too long. This is the first question. I'm going to drop it in the chat. Have you ever been asked by your team to share a company post? Or have you ever done the asking someone to share a company post, or of asking your team to share that company post? So people can just respond yes or no. So yes, I have been, yes. Okay, one yes so far. Yes. I'm assuming that everyone is going to say yes, because all of us at one point or another have either been asked to share something or oh no, we have one no. Okay, Steve, you're the outlier. Anything, Becca? Like, have you been asked to share anything on LinkedIn? A post? Like, have you been asked to share a link to a blog article? Anything? So then the next question, we'll assume, I'm going to make up, a number here, that this is like 92%. We do have one no there. So 92% of the people allegedly in this conversation have been asked to share it. Now, my next question is, did you do it? And the reason that I ask this, okay, it was now it's going to work. Now we can vote on the screen. So did you do it? If you've been asked to share a post by your company, did you do it? And the reason that I'm curious to hear this, okay, everybody, wow, all right, I wasn't expecting all yeses on this, because what I see all the time with every company I've ever worked at is that someone on the marketing team usually will say, hey, I want everyone to share this post on, share upcoming webinar, share whatever. And I don't know, a couple, one or two people do it, but most people don't. And so the point that I'm getting at here is just that it's one thing to ask people to do something. It's another thing to see who actually shows up and does it. And not just do they show up and do it, but do they do it in a way that is actually compelling, that actually gets their audience to engage, that actually gets registrations to your webinar, that actually gets someone to read your blog. So that's the next question. Do you think that your post drove registrations, assuming that was the goal, either to drive traffic to your website or to drive registrations for a webinar or drive whatever it is, whatever call to action the marketing team was looking to accomplish there? Do you think that your post drove actionable results as a result of your post? So I'm going to end this poll and see if I can do it. Okay, I have one no. 2 no's. I did it the like official way now. Seems like people are more keen. No, 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 no. Okay. So we've all been asked to do this thing. Many of us are doing it. Almost everyone here is doing it, which is awesome. You all should give yourself a pat on the back. But we're not having the impact that we think, we're not getting the results that we're really looking to achieve with this content. So is it really worth it? Generally, company stuff for us gets super low engagement. Completely agree, Steve. So I'm going to walk through a deck here and go through some tips, some ways that you can start to show up on LinkedIn in a way that actually starts to drive some of those results because it's something that people want to do. Okay, so I'm going to end this real quick. Thank you for being patient with me while we all figure out all of the technical stuff. And I'm going to share my screen. Okay, the only person that said yes, Claire, said they meant to say no. So 100% of people in this audience did the thing their company was asking them to do, and 100% of people don't feel like they got the results that the company was looking for as a result of it. So, it's one thing to empower your team to go speak, to go create, something, anything, do anything on LinkedIn. It's another thing entirely to actually be driving the results that you're looking to have, right? So, okay. Boom, present. Okay, cool. So the topic of this session is stop asking your people to share your company posts and do this instead. Like we just saw from that poll, this is what a lot of our companies are asking us to do, right? They've posted, this is my company, they've posted something on LinkedIn and they say, okay, go share that post. And I did this, as an exercise and quickly deleted it because I know for a fact that if I had shared this and left it up, maybe I should have done that actually, but it would have gotten very low engagement relative to the content that I typically put out on LinkedIn. And the reason why is because I haven't added anything here, right? Like if you're scrolling through your feed and you see this post come up, even that, it has my name right above it, but it instantly looks like I'm trying to sell something here. I'm sharing my company's post. I am sharing it in, with these like beautiful polished graphics, which are lovely and I absolutely love them. But as soon as people see this, as soon as they see some of the marketing content that is like coming from an individual person, especially if you're directly sharing a post here, people's guard goes up. Because they see this and are like, okay, what is this person trying to sell to me? Do I need to protect myself? Like, I don't want to engage with this. I need to distance myself from this. So again, this is a perfectly acceptable, great post promoting this event. It's awesome. But if you just go have your whole team share this, you're not going to see the results that you're looking for because people who are connected to me on LinkedIn want to hear what I think. They want to know what my opinions are. They want to know why I think they should attend this event. What value do I think it will provide to them? They don't want to see people, they don't want to see 30 Skaled employees just sharing, just going and sharing the company post. So this is the kind of results that we really want to see, right? Skaled posted about this event, unmute. Awesome. Sorry. Well, this was me sharing it, but instead of me sharing it, this is the kind of thing that is going to get the results that we're looking for. Sharing what you think, what you're hearing. And actually, funny enough, I know there's a couple folks in here who regularly join our LinkedIn club on Clubhouse. And this was actually, I wrote this during one of our LinkedIn club sessions because Niraj said something about wanting to hear people's voice. And I'm pretty sure I gave him credit in the comments there, but it's just a powerful statement, right? I want to hear your voice. And then explaining to people why it doesn't work when you just share a company post, or share a link to an article, or do anything else that's kind of copy and paste. You heard earlier the Gong team talk about, hey, we do sometimes ask our team to share company content, but almost never do people just share it. People always put their own spin on it. They always put their own, take on it, why it's important to them, why they think that this is worth sharing with their network. So I'm just highlighting that, when our companies are asking us, hey, share this post, this isn't going to help get more registrations to your event. It's not going to create interest and excitement around it. What will create interest and excitement around it is, sharing your thoughts about the event. And you'll notice here, right? Like this post is 100% promoting the Unmute event. In the first comment down here, which you can't see, there's a link to register for the event, just like there is in Scaled's post here. And so I think my point is, I get very strong, visceral reactions oftentimes when I tell people don't share your company posts. And there's no reason for that. I'm not saying don't promote your company. I'm not saying don't help your marketing team out to drive registrations to an upcoming event or webinar. I'm just saying to give your team the tools and the freedom, the encouragement to do it in a way that's authentic to themselves, that reflects their thoughts, their opinions, their ideas. So give me some kind of signal of life here, hit an emoji, drop a comment of some kind if this makes sense, or if you have a really specific question about this, you can start dropping those there. Thank you all for dropping some emojis. It's good to feel heard when you're doing this stuff virtually all day long. It's exhausting if you don't see and get to engage with people. So not seeing any immediate visceral responses to this. So I want to show you also one. Does your company provide template ideas for the post? Yes, and that's one of our tips in a second, Billy. But yes, absolutely. I think the idea and so there's two kind of approaches to this as I see it. There's a template, right? And the Gong team was talking a bit about this. They were like, you could structure your post like this, and include here, answer this question at the top. Here's a couple of key things about it. Here's a key stat. So you could do it this way. You could start with a key stat. You could providing a couple of ideas for how to share it. So yeah, absolutely. Becca and her team do an amazing job of creating templates and ideas for the team. The other thing, it's funny, we're talking about this event, right? So leading up to this event, we provided some templated, posts for all of the speakers to share the event on their LinkedIn pages. And I was kind of like, oh, Becca, these people aren't going to need that, right? Right? All of the people that are showing up at this event they're practitioners on LinkedIn. They know how to do this stuff. But honestly, I did see a couple of people, even speakers here, use a couple of those templates. Kim kind of talked about this in the last session also, right? It's okay to be lazy sometimes. Every single thing doesn't need to be this deep, thoughtful, I sat down and wrote this for an hour, although I am definitely guilty of spending exorbitant amounts of time on posts from time to time. But this post that I have up on the screen right now, I think I mentioned I was multitasking a little bit. I was in a Clubhouse room. I heard someone say something that inspired me, and that's what prompted the post, and I was able to put it out in just a couple of minutes. So anyways, the goal here is to get away from just blanket sharing a company post and get people to be invested or engaged in what the outcome is, right? Get them to share their thoughts, their opinions. And I would almost never share the company page post. So I could have put this text, in my share, but I'm not quite sure. I'm not convinced that it adds much, because at the end of the day, I'm not actually trying to drive traffic to my company's LinkedIn page. I'm trying to drive traffic to this event page. I'm trying to drive traffic to our website. If people skip the step of going to our company's LinkedIn page, that's a-okay, right? We're tracking views of our website. We're tracking how many registrants we're having. So it's almost like I am the trusted voice, and I'm helping people skip the step of needing to interact with the company, right? The perception is that they're getting it straight from the horse's mouth, if you will. I did share a company video recently and it got good engagement. I think it's because I shared it with everyone that I created the actual video, and the video topic was something I personally agree with. Yeah, so if you created the video and you're like, hey, I'm so excited to share this. I helped create this thing. Your network is going to be invested in it, right? Your network is going to be excited about it. My network doesn't care that I work at Skaled. Most of you don't care that I work at Skaled, right? You care that I'm providing interesting, hopefully valuable information on a regular basis. So I think it's been said a few times today, but the idea that we're promoting the ideas, putting the ideas ahead of the company or even really the person, that is the thing that's so powerful. Give people the option to be scripted, but if they don't post a lot, if they need a little bit of inspiration to get started. Yep, absolutely, Becca. So then I before I go into these tips for how to get your team more engaged and encouraged to start posting in this way, right? The way on the right-hand side of the screen. I want to just show one other thing because I get asked this a lot, and I know Skaled has done this. When I first joined, Skaled was talking about this, and I've recently seen Shield doing it a lot. Rather than trying to share company content through individual pages, I would challenge that we should be thinking about it in the inverse. So let's start thinking about how do we take the best of your team and share that through the company page. Because when we put a face to when we put a face to the idea, it's just easier to connect with, right? Like people don't connect with a company, people connect with a person. Like you can't, I mean, unless you're like Microsoft or you're just like a huge brand name, people aren't connecting with the company, right? They're connecting with the people there. So I would challenge, if you are someone who has historically been like, okay, here's our company content, let's share it out through individual pages. Let's flip the script a little bit. I'm going to go through these, tips and ideas right now for how to get your team posting a bit more. But once they're doing that, let's flip the script and let's start using the individual contributions that our team are making and putting those out through our company page, because this helps people feel more connected to the brand. Look at this. Oh, shoot. Look at this. 170 likes on a company page post. I don't know how many people here are running company pages, but like that's unheard of, right? Like that is an anomaly. That is not the rule by any stretch of the imagination. So this works. This works. This doesn't. Okay, so now I'm going to go through 5 tips to helping get your team more engaged. So the first thing, and we talked about this a little bit in the Gong session, but let people opt in. When we go talk with a sales team or any team that we're thinking of working with, Steve's team, actually, Steve, who was speaking on the last panel, Steve just hired a bunch of new people and he was like, all right, I want to get them into some LinkedIn training. I want to get them engaged with the Scale team. And I was like, great. How many people did you hire? I don't remember, but it was like 10, right? And he's like, yeah, let's put them all in the program. I was like, no. Let's let people decide. I don't want to waste anyone's time or money trying to convince people to post on LinkedIn. That is just like an uphill battle that I do not want to climb. Instead, like let's put it out to the team, say who's interested in doing this. Maybe 3 or 4 people are great. Like, let's get them in like to the training. Like, let's start helping them do that. Like, let's give them the tools that they need to do it. But let's just let the other 6 people do their thing. Like they're still working hard. Not everybody has to be active on LinkedIn. Like, let them keep doing their thing. Let them come to us when they're ready to start doing it. it's not going to work if you're trying to force people. If people aren't excited, if they're not invested in the outcomes, then you're not going to be successful. And I think that the Gong team also pointed out something that's really valuable this morning, many things that were very valuable this morning, but one of them being help people understand what's in it for them, right? Like, and that's not in like, it's not in a way that they shouldn't just be invested in the company's success, but like, let's be honest, if you tell me, hey, you can help the company, but also if you start getting active and sharing your thoughts and ideas on LinkedIn, you're never going to have to submit another resume again, right? You are going to be like, have your pick of jobs, right? You're going to be visible in your skills that are coveted by the industry. Like people, like this is you building your professional reputation and creating opportunities for yourself as an individual in addition to creating opportunities for our company. So let people opt in, help them understand what's in it for them. Yep. Okay, we've talked a lot about this too, but lead by example. You can't expect your team to go out and start creating a ton of content if you aren't doing it yourself. And the reason, and you know, there might be one or two people on your team who do it, and that's great. Like, you know, that's awesome. Maybe you can ask them for some help if you're just getting started and you're the leader at your company. The thing I think about this is like, I want to know that not only am I not going to be condemned for sharing something on LinkedIn, I want to know that it's going to be celebrated and seen as the value added activity that it is, right? If I go spend 30 minutes at the end of my work, a few days a week, posting something on LinkedIn, and I know it's creating brand recognition, I know it's driving registrations, I know it's driving traffic to my website, but my company just kind of like turns their head and is like, whatever, you can do it. But like, you know, I'm not like, you know, cool. And they're not excited, or they don't feel like the person posting doesn't feel like what they're doing is being celebrated, or at least, you know, acknowledged in a positive way. That's very discouraging, right? Does this apply to all employees or only employees in sales? Does what apply? Like leading by example, or I mean, yes, it does apply. The best case scenario, posting activity. Yeah, the best case scenario is that you have a couple folks from your technical team, you have a couple folks from your sales team, you have a couple folks from your marketing team. Like best case scenario, you have a couple of people from every department in your organization that are doing this. Why? Well, because each of those pieces creates this like kind of holistic understanding of what your company's about, how they show up, what they do. If I hear, and you know, the technical people, like they don't need to be posting the same types of content necessarily if the sales team are posting, but if they've just come up with a new way, or they've used some open source solution to do something in a creative way, like encourage them to share that, right? Like encourage them to share what they're learning, how they're solving problems, you know, what challenges that they're facing, or what solutions that they've come up with. Because when you encourage the entire team to be a part of that solution, you're going to have people who are like, wow, this company is really cool, because not only am I learning about, you know, what they're doing on the sales side, not only am I learning about their webinar, I'm getting insights from all of their team. You know, you have a smart, capable team. Like get everybody sharing something about their day-to-day work, and it will help everyone on your team with potential job offers in the future. So yes, I think it applies to everyone. And if you can get people from a few different departments engaged, that is the goal. And actually, speaking of that, so, you know, this is just to illustrate the point, but obviously Jake is the CEO of Skaled. And we have, you know, this is just a few of the posts that I quickly found on LinkedIn, but we have our whole company is being encouraged to do this. So one of the things that Skaled is doing is that we have an employee program, completely optional. You get to opt in. If you opt into it, you are committing to posting on LinkedIn on some kind of regular basis. That looks a little bit different for everyone, but we're investing time and resources in our people because we know that it's good for their careers and because we know it's good for our company. So everyone at our company has the opportunity to opt into this employee training program. We meet once a month. We've worked with everyone to develop their LinkedIn strategies, and then we help them craft post content. We give them feedback on that, and we make sure that the content is in front of everyone at the company. Becca has been doing something awesome where she sends out in a company-wide email, hey, check out this LinkedIn post of the week. So we're doing everything we can to really celebrate the people that are embracing this, because it's awesome that they're doing this. And we know that there's benefit to the company, and people should be celebrated when they're talking and being vocal about what it is that we're doing at Skaled, or not. Sometimes the posts aren't directly about Skaled, right? Sometimes it's like like Marian in particular, who spoke yesterday. She frequently talks about sales enablement, sales leadership, women in sales, women in leadership. And sometimes the posts don't have anything to do with Skaled, but they're still like valuable, insightful things that we want to be celebrating. Okay, so lead by example. If you're out there doing it, people have a template to follow. They know that you understand the value of it, and they're more likely to follow your example. I keep trying to change the screen on this. Okay, so this goes back to the employee training program that we have. Interview your people. One of the biggest fears that we hear associated with posting content on LinkedIn. Well, first it's does anyone care about what I have to say? Is this going to get any likes or comments? Like, does anyone care what I have to say? That's like one of the big fears. But then the next thing people have to overcome is, what do I post about? And so one of the ways that we're helping our team come up with ideas for content, everyone on your team has content that they could be sharing. Every single person. They're generating it every day. They're generating it in sales calls. They're generating it in, in meetings that you have internally at your company. They're generating it when they're talking to customers. So the idea is just to pull out some key questions, and the marketing team could take this on, or, really anyone in the company could do it. You could just do it kind of informally with a peer at your company too, right? And so I'll give a couple of examples of the types of questions that we ask. And then, Becca, when we send this out, I have a full list. I wasn't going to be able to go through all of them. So I have a full list of like 25 or 30 questions that we ask. And they're some of them are generic, some of them are more specific, but we'll send that around to everyone. Deb Cannon. I feel like the majority of the content I should be leading my voice to is far too technical for me to find an angle to own. I think we can work with you, Deb. Make sure, Deb, I think Jake's going to jump on to the session here in 9 or 10 minutes. Make sure you set up a time to talk with me, and I'll help you work through a post or two. So some of the questions that we'll ask of people just to help them start prompting ideas, if you had a microphone or a megaphone to talk about anything that you're passionate about, right? Like if you were going to get up and give a 10-minute talk about anything in the whole world, what would it be? What would you want to talk about? And by starting with really broad questions like this, it helps you kind of hone in on, hey, what is this person passionate about? What do they care about? Whether it's related to work or not, and starts to get in the mindset of like, hey, this kind of is my megaphone where I can be talking about anything I care about. Was she at Gong? I'm forgetting the company right now, but there was a woman who was really passionate. Maybe someone here will know who I'm talking about because she's pretty active on LinkedIn. She was selling some kind of sales technology, right? But she was really passionate about our oceans. And so she's doing like these scuba, like she would dress up in a scuba suit and talk about the things that she really cared about, in addition to talking about the work that she was doing. But it created this almost kind of, there we go. I knew someone would know. Kendra Warlow. So she is sharing her passions in addition to sharing her work. And what happens is you attract people that would never, ever, ever probably consume some of that content, and you create brand awareness with people who you might not ever reach otherwise. So people shouldn't be afraid of talking. Yeah, see, I love it. I do too. I love her stuff, right? people shouldn't be afraid to talk about what it is that they're passionate about in addition to talking about the company. We did an exercise yesterday, and this is always, really helpful. Like, what questions have you been asked recently? What questions are you getting from customers or clients or peers? Completely agree, Jen. What questions have you been asked recently? Again, if one person's asking this question, a lot of people are asking this question. So by prompting people to like think back, what questions have you been getting from customers? What questions have you been getting from clients or prospects? It helps them think like, oh, actually, maybe this would be interesting for a wider audience to know about. Why do you work in this industry? What drew you to this job? Like, why do you care about your work? Why are you passionate about what you do at this company? Any of those kinds of questions are going to help prompt people to think of, a pretty exhaustive list of things they could be posting about. So I definitely recommend, if people are wanting to get consistently active, help them out. You can just do this peer-to-peer at your company, or you can be, more intentional, have a marketing department go out and ask lots of folks at the company a handful of questions. But what you come away with, and what I do when I ask the team these types of questions, like I said, we'll send a comprehensive list out, is I take really good notes and then I share it with them after it. So I say, hey, thank you so much. I loved learning a little bit more about you. It's also a great team building exercise, right? Like, get people to know one another a bit better. And then send them the notes. And now they have a document. Sometimes, depending on how long we talk and how excited someone is to do it, sometimes I have like 6 or 7 pages of notes afterwards. And what this allows you to do then is, now I have this like place. I have something physical. I have a physical set of ideas of things I could be posting or talking about on LinkedIn. Okay. Make it easy. Someone asked about templates a second ago. So make it easy for people. One example of that obviously is creating this like reservoir of content for someone about things they could be posting about, creating some templates, creating examples, whatever you can do to help your team and make it easy. As long as there's this understanding that, hey, we can't do it for you. No one can do it for you. So even when Steve mentioned he's one of our clients, even when I'm helping Steve with content, it's always his ideas. I'm always just taking notes on his ideas and helping him structure it in a compelling way. I can't write his post for him. Like, if I didn't talk to him on a weekly basis, I can't go write posts for someone. It needs to be in your voice. You need to feel invested in it. The person posting has to feel invested in it, or else it just doesn't work. All right. Make it fun. So this is actually something that Kyle Lacey at Lessonly and I talked a bit about. There are a lot of things you can do to make it fun, right? Like, especially if you're working with a sales team, tend to be maybe a slightly more competitive profession. So think of ways that you can make it a contest, right? I think Lessonly gives out like iPads or something, and maybe that's a bit extreme, but how can you create a little bit of a contest, create a little bit of an incentive? It doesn't have to be an iPad. It can be like, I don't know, a shirt. But think of ways that you can get the team kind of like interested in it beyond just creating great, valuable content. How can you make it something that people are like, oh, did you see so-and-so's post? Like, Marion did a great post yesterday. Oh yeah, but did you see Becca's? Like, get the whole team invested in each other's success, excited about doing it, give them a reason to show up and be excited about it. Do all of these things and it will make your team more excited. It will make them feel more invested in creating great content. All right. Okay. So I think Jake's going to join us in just a second here. But in the meantime, if anyone has a question, I'm going to stop sharing this. If we're not connected already on LinkedIn, I hope that you send me a connection request. I've been trying to send requests to everyone that I've seen, but there's been a lot of people in and out over the last few days. So make sure you send me a connection request on LinkedIn if we're not already connected. And what questions do we have for, we just have a couple of minutes here, but what questions do y'all have about how to get your team more involved and interested in posting great content on LinkedIn? You can grab the mic or you can drop them in the chat too. And I'm going to drop my, nope. Really? You guys are going to go quiet on me now? I'm going to assume that everyone is furiously typing a question right now. When you said you wrote a post because something inspired you, what if the inspiration, Mehak, you're awesome, thank you. What if the inspiration is unrelated? Unrelated to like your company? Here's what I would say to each other. I'm going to take a stab at this, Mehak, but if you, I know you were furiously typing that question, but if you clarify if I'm not getting it right. So if you're inspired by something, I think about it like, okay, so two things. First is you should not feel restricted to only posting about what your company does. With that being said, you also don't want to necessarily be showing up and posting about women in leadership today and tech tomorrow and hospitality the next day. And like, if you just post about like 15 different things over the course of a couple of weeks, that can be problematic because it makes it hard for people to actually get to know like what you really care about, like what's the nearest and dearest to your heart, like what are the couple of things that they can really come to you for. So that's why we like to create content pillars, if you will, or buckets. So identify, hey, here are the 2 or 3 things that I post about on LinkedIn. Stick to those things. But then if you have, if you're inspired to post about women in leadership and it has nothing to do with what your company does, but it's something that's near and dear to your heart, you can consistently post about that and people will know that that is a space that you care deeply about and that you are consistent about sharing content on. And then a post about digital. Got it, Mehak. Yeah, I think Mehak, doing a little bit of I don't know if I like saying it like this necessarily, but almost soul searching to really narrow down or define, hey, here are the 2 or 3 things that I'm going to consistently show up and post about is probably a good exercise. Now, that's not to say that at some point you can't weave in a different theme or topic. It's just that if you're all over the map at first, it makes it hard for people to understand, what are the kind of core things that I can go to you for, or that I know that I'll be seeing from you. So I would recommend, identifying what those 2 or 3 things are. And then, as you get established posting and sharing content about those things, maybe women in tech is not something that you identify as one of the most core things that you want to be posting about. But at some point, if you want to start weaving that content in after you've posted for a while, I think that's great.